Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, there's unbelievable what's taking place upon the sun. Tremendous solar energy, solar winds. I mean, yesterday, at one point, we were running at 943.7 kilometers per second. It was equivalent to 2.1 million miles an hour. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. And it even had a momentary spike of 1103 kilometers per second. But right now, we've been monitoring it. It has slowed down to 550.6, but still, that's almost twice the normal speed. Fortunately for us, these solar winds could have been a lot worse, folks. They could have been solar flares erupting directly facing the earth. But we're still feeling the pressure from it. This is such enormous wind speeds coming off the sun that it's affecting us. Matter of fact, Mount Etna erupted. It just exploded yesterday, and it's been doing some explosions, and the pressure's building around the planet. Where I'm really thankful is we haven't had a major earthquake, but it would not shock me if it doesn't happen. But I will say this, we also have, while we have these signs going on in the sun and this radiation increasing upon the earth, we have a situation also, and that is constantly now we have a near miss of asteroids going by the earth almost daily. On March 22nd, yesterday, we had one go by. It was only 2.6 LD, okay? So about 600,000, maybe 700,000 miles from the earth. On March 21st, we had two of them, one of which was only a 2 LD. Today we have an asteroid. It's called 2017 FZ2, and that one's going to be only 1.7 LD from the Earth. It's also pretty good size, 19 meters. So it's a big rock. It's not going to hit us, but we're constantly seeing every day. On March 26th, we're going to have one. March 27th, we're going to have two, and on and on. And they're finding these recently. Most of them are very recent. They spot them. We only have sometimes 2 or 3 days to know they're going to go by. Sometimes we only have 2 or 3 hours. So in other words, we're seeing a lot of signs in the heavens. We're seeing all kinds of activity. The sun is being shaken. It's reacting. I know we're in a solar minimum, but it is really reacting beyond normal. The fireballs last night, I'll just give you an example. Last night we had 29 fireballs that came in and out of our Earth's atmosphere, spotted around the world. 29 just last night. So the increase in this galactical belt that we're in, as we're going through this asteroid belt, they're everywhere. Asteroids, meteors, it's all happening. And the heavens are being shaken by some type of force. A gravitational pull, and people are spotting now what looks like potentially Planet X or Planet 7X or Nibiru. I mean, I have from one night 3 different people send me pictures during sunset of a strange, what looks like a planet. The pictures came from South Carolina, one from Alabama, and one from Elkhart, Indiana. One was from Birmingham, Alabama, and one was from somewhere in South Carolina. And all 3 of the pictures, the people, we contacted them, the people said they saw this planet, what looked like something with their naked eye. They could see it, but the sun was too bright, so they took a picture, and then there you see it. And I've already done a video showing you this a few days ago and showing you one of those pictures. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, I don't know, is something shaking the heavens. Now, here's what Jesus said. Here's what Jesus said would happen in the last days. He says in Luke 21:25, there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them for fear, for looking after those things that are coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right. Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, he says, then look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And they are beginning to come to pass. Matter of fact, the heavens are shaking. The gravitational pull of some type of force is shaking the heavens, if it's planet X or Nibiru or planet 7X. And you think about Gil Brazard for a minute. He was so intensely studying, researching, finding out that what appeared to be something would go by the earth every 300 and it varied, but around 340 years. And there were major events in the Bible being affected by strange events in the sky. And it was documented not only in the Bible, but it was documented by other civilizations at the exact same time. They saw different things, and there was different reactions from this gravitational pull. I'm not sure. Okay, so anyway, we've had Gil Brazard on our show. He has done a fabulous job in his research. He was so sure that we would begin to see with the naked eye, we start spotting Planet X last year, about this time, March 26th, actually, he believed was the big day. It didn't happen. He said it would be 2016. But is it possible Gil Brazard was just off by a year? There is such a thing as sundogs. I know all about that. This is different. These are eyewitnesses, same day, same sunset, and people freaking out over it. It happened last Friday, okay? Last Friday, March the 18th, just at sunset. And one guy showed up at my conference the next morning at the prophecy conference with the picture on his cell phone and showed it to me. I put it up on YouTube. You've seen it. The next afternoon, I received another picture sent to me from a lady in Birmingham, Alabama. Same object, same sunset, different location. Another man sent me a picture from South Carolina. Same object, same sunset, different location, different landscape, everything. So you see what I'm saying. It's not a lens flare. There was something there. So I don't know what's happening. I know what the Bible said is going to happen. And are we witnessing the events that cause these things to happen? Where are we in this big picture? Are you saved is a question you have to ask. But we're going to have a powerful show today. Don't miss it. We're going to talk about it. We got to talk about it. We're going to talk about it at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's 12 p.m. Eastern. Be there at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. Are you saved?
This is Dabu7. It's been a while since I've talked about the signs in the heavens and the things that we can expect to see this year in 2017. It's been 4 years since I put out the original video talking about the events that we're going to see this year. Well, at least one of them I was talking about back then, and that is what I'm going to cover in the second half of this video. I'm going to start off with the first event that we're going to see, which is this great eclipse across the United States. Now, I'm over at Stellarium, and it's a good bit of software to use to get a bead on what's going to happen in the sky from whatever location. Right now, I have it in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, which is going to be ground zero for this eclipse event. And for those wanting to see this, this is going to go down August 21st of this year. You can see the path right there cutting across the United States. And I look to be in position in streaming about an hour ahead of this to catch the whole eclipse in its totality for 2 minutes and 40 seconds from Hopkinsville, which will be right down here near Eddyville and Paducah near the New Madrid. But there's going to be plenty of places to see this across the United States, starting in Oregon. And what they do here is they go through the time frame, and they go through Oregon, they go through Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri. They talk about Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and the best places to view it within those areas. And this is going to be unique because it's been a long time since we've seen an eclipse of this nature in totality, and it's going to be 7 years before the next one comes through in 2024, and the best place to view that is actually going to be in Mexico. So this is going to be the one to see this year in 2017. Now, over here at Stellarium, if you put this into motion here, I'll take away the atmosphere here for a second. You can see the moon eclipsing the sun. But if I add the atmosphere back, what you're going to notice on this day when this happens is that Venus will brighten up extremely. I'll put this in fast forward motion here a little bit. And you will see as it moves across the center there, Venus will flare up very bright. So during this eclipse, the things around the sun that you normally can't see are going to be lighting up, and Regulus is going to be right there next to the sun as well. But you can see Venus starting to brighten up there. This is going to be midday. This isn't like it's coming up sunrise or sunset. You can see it brightening as it's going through the center. So Venus will stand out very, very bright during this eclipse. See? Brightening up big time there. So in the darkness, this will be sticking out in the sky like a sore thumb, very bright, especially for those 2 minutes in those areas where you're going to be able to see the eclipse in totality. So that's a look at that. Now, I want to switch gears here and go to the second part of this. And we will go and punch in September 23rd. I'll go down here and I'm going to pause this. Adjust the screen. And you can see here, looking south, and this is positioned out of Kentucky, got it at Hopkinsville, from where I would be able to see the eclipse from. Now, on this day, September 23rd, there's been a lot of talk about this for the longest time, and I'm going to run through a few things here in terms of this. Now, I first mentioned this July 9th, 2013. I put out a video talking about the potential for this alignment in the heavens. And back then, people were focused. We are now in 2017, approaching this. And I wanted to kind of recap on this and go over some new information to add to this. Now, as I was talking in that older video, we had a very unique sequence of events, these blood moons that came through, known as the Tetrad. Now, I covered this, and what we noticed is all these feasts, when it comes to the Jewish holidays, they all fall on these blood moons, or they did in this sequence. And a lot of everything that happens with their feast align with the moon. Now, they are operating off of a different calendar system. I'm going to talk about the correlation between the Gregorian and the one they're using, and how together they unravel what I believe is a time frame here, a sequence. You can see we're coming up on this next sequence, which is a triad that's going to happen in 2018. Now, 2018 looks to be key here. And in the heavens, if you're looking for signs or something to signal a time frame, we have a time, and half a times from this period hitting right here in 2018 that we're approaching. And then, when we look at the signs in the heavens, specifically for the September 22nd, 23rd, and I always give a window because around the globe, as the Earth spins, the dates are going to be different. Like right now, it's a different date in another part of the globe. So there's literally a little window there between a day or two that you have to work with for these things. But what was very unique about this, what caught our attention, was the fact that this constellation of the Virgin was in the heavens. And in this moment in time, this is when Jupiter was coming through, passing and doing a retrograde, and then going down out the bottom of the constellation, literally doing a swooping motion right in through the womb of the Virgin and then down and out. And what is so key about this matching revelation is that it talks about the woman clothed in the sun, that has the moon at her feet, and that has a crown of 12 stars on her head. And what is very unique about this is at this specific time, as all these things align, you have the lion above her head, Leo, that has 9 points within it. So at first glance, you would think, okay, there's only 9, there's not 12. But there is an alignment of Venus, Mars, and Mercury at this exact moment, right there above the head in the same constellation to form 12 stars. So what does this symbolize? What is this signifying in the heavens? I don't have all the answers. What I'm here to show you is what is happening. And people can speculate time frames, all this other stuff. Even here, this depiction, this is something that was drawn up by a guy that I had done the older videos on. And this is how he was depicting seeing things and trying to put it in a graph and make sense of stuff. And what I want to point out here is December 5th, 2017. He has marked on here. When I first saw that, I didn't think much of it until I started going deeper. And when I went deeper, I started to see when all these numbers line up, this is an important date, as you're going to see here in a minute. Now, to understand this, and this is even for people out there that don't even believe in the Bible, you need to understand that there is a certain group of people here on this planet that will use, so to speak, what is happening in this world and Scripture as a playbook to try to actually make things come about. Now, I want to remind you that this time frame, that this Jewish calendar that they're using, I want to remind you that the Jews did not believe that Jesus was the Messiah. They call him the King of the Jews, but they rejected him. Herod ordered all the babies killed between 0 and 2, and there was a 2-year gap that happened here between the star of Bethlehem, the star showing up in the sky, the wise men showing up and asking, where is this Messiah? And Herod, like, what are you talking about? I'm the king. There's going to be someone else come, another king of the Jews, because he proclaimed he was the king of the Jews. And then all of that happened with the sign in the heavens. This was before Jesus had entered the picture at what they would say is 0 AD. You see? And what we're using, the time frame. Now, it's interesting to note that their years are different. When you look at the Hebrew calendar and everything else, what they're using. Their dates, if you go looking up the year 5778, and you can see here, this is connected to Kabbalah, Jewish belief, the Jewish calendar. And if you just do a Google search, you will see where a lot of these guys are connecting what is. Now, if I've got your attention, these individuals with these other religions around the globe are using this other calendar system. And in reference to the 70-year pattern that was talked about biblically, from 1948, fast forward 70 years, you're in 2018. And there we are back at this marker of 2018, which in the heavens, there's going to be a triad of blood moons coming up centering around 2018. Now, to kick all this off, a sign in the heavens, before all this commences, we will literally have this matching revelation here in the heavens. Now, the timeline and everything else that people debate on how things line up, my best advice to people out there is to learn to communicate peacefully and not argue and be further divided by things. What I'm trying to do is, I'm not sitting here saying that on this date it's going to be tribulation, anything like that, or the rapture, What I'm saying is that there is definitely an event happening in the heavens that matches, and this is the closest one out of any, that matches what it's saying in Revelation. And also with the solar eclipse 2017 bringing these signs in the heavens, and it's unique. Unique things happening in the heavens that you really have to pay attention to. And like I said, walking right into this upcoming blood moon triad. Now, when looking here on Stellarium at this date, try to center this around here and take away the atmosphere. And let's see if I can get it spun around the way that I want it. You can see Antares, Jupiter, the moon, Mercury, Mars, Regulus. And when I add, go down here and I add the constellation artwork, that's when everything starts to come into picture. As you can see, the lion above her with its 9 key points, Venus, Mars, and Mercury above her, the sun clothing her. You can see Jupiter, the moon, and with this depiction on how it is kicked up, you can see where everything sits. See what this one up here is. That's Arcturus. So the alignment there. And when looking a little bit further into this and adding in some gematria, and you can, and I'm going to show you what some others are doing and how they're coming to these conclusions of what is what, and having solid concrete number proof to go off of instead of just taking a guess. Now, in Hebrew, you can see here the number that almost looks like a 777, the dower. It has a gematria value of 210. Okay, and he goes on to break down many different things here. And as I've stated in the past, you have to keep in mind that they're using a mirror system. Everything has a mirror out here. Now, when they reference, let them have understanding. For the number of a man is 666. What is very interesting is if you take the 13 times 18, it is 234. If you add its mirror, embedded and hidden right there in plain sight, if you know how to calculate, is 666 right there. And using the same formula applied to all these different references. Here in just this one article, it shows how he has stacked up all these signs that show the proof in the numbers. Now, he goes on here to talk about Matthew 21:21 equaling 441. And I tweeted this out earlier, right here. It means truth. 441. Okay? Now, he goes on to explain here that this key year of 1783, the year of all and all the stuff that happened, and then the 15th, the first day of Sukkot. Now, we've got to remember this, 15, and that's what I'm trying to do is bring it clear to you here together to see what they're doing, how they're seeing this, and what they're expecting to come. And there's a reason why they're going off this lunar-based system and all their big feasts fall on these events. You see, so they're definitely studying what's happening in the heavens. And it's a big part of all their feast and everything that goes down. But this connects from 1783, this year of all. This ties into our revolution in the air. You can see first shot fired 1775 and ended 1783. Duration exactly 8 years. The lava flow that went exactly 8 months. And it goes on to show the correlation here between those numbers and ends with a good piece here of showing after the 70 years, and here's that 70-year repeat. Check this out. The copyright that this guy's talking about is supposed to come out in October of 2017 because there's 70 years. They say 70 years after the death of an author is how long they have with copyright. There's the 70 again. So when is this? Tishri 5778 on the Hebrew calendar. He was born October 8th, which is Tishri 14, 1848. You go down here, it talks about May 1st. If I look up Tishri 15th, it is October 5th. October 5th of 2017 this year. And I didn't know it before, but now I know why he had that ticker taped right here. Trying to help you make sense of this. Now check it out when it comes to the numbers. I'll end with this. Workers' Day, Labor Day, May Day, the 1st. It marks 888 days prior to the first day of Sukkot, which is 5778. And guess when? October 5th, 2017. And you can see there the value associated with the 888 as well. Casey's talked about that in depth. But as far as this sign in the heavens goes, I wanted to try to cover this and just get the information out there for all those that were asking about it. It is something that is approaching, and it is an alignment of things that is super rare. I couple this with the other things going on, what we have with this eclipse, and then followed up here by this triad of blood moons in 2018. The year 5778 to them looks to be very key and special. Now, I want to reiterate the fact that the Jews do not see Yeshua as their king. So if these individuals are expecting a Messiah to come back here anytime in 5778 potentially, and it's not Jesus, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have the eyes to see. The stage is set. And beware of the false man of peace that will take the stage. You should all know that it's coming, and not be tricked and fooled into believing that this individual is going to be the Messiah. He is a false man of peace. And don't forget, he comes like a thief in the night. This has been Dabu 7. Eyes to the skies.